Governance, Performance and Accountability Amendment supporting small businesses to be paid on time Bill 2026 and the explanatory memorandum. Speaker, it has been an incredibly—
I'll just wait for the clerk to call the bill before calling the member. Call to the clerk.
First reading, a bill for an Act to amend the Public Governance, Performance and Accountability Act 2013 and for related purposes.
Give the call to the member for Wentworth to move the second reading.
I move that this bill be now read a second time.
Member may proceed.
Speaker, it has been an incredibly challenging few years for Australia's small business community. We've had the COVID lockdowns, we've had high inflation, we've had high interest rates, we have a fuel crisis and sluggish consumer demands. And we in this place need to be doing everything we can to build and grow and support our small and medium business areas. And so I want to talk about one of the issues most important to small business owners, and that is cash flow. I've run a business. I ran our family business for 10 years, and I know how vitally important cash flow is. It is the lifeblood that keeps a business running, and any blockage is the thing that can send a business to the wall. According to ASIC, cash flow management is the #1 cause of insolvency among Australia's small businesses. And let's talk about payment times now, because the failure of customers to pay their suppliers on time significantly contributes to headaches around cash flows for small businesses. I know I've met small businesses whose business, they've actually sold the work. They can actually run on the basis of the profit that they can make. But because they can't, then they're not being paid on time at a certain point, they go to the wall because of those cash flow issues. And it's those payment times I want to address in this bill. Because indeed, according to the ASBFIO quarterly report Q1 2026, around 35% of disputes that came to them in Q1 this year related to payment disputes. Slow payment can sometimes be honest miscommunication, but in some times, the Ombudsman argues, it can be an exertion of market power from large participants to manage their own cash flow, effectively using delayed payment as a cheap form of credit. Since 2020, Australia has operated the Payment Times Reporting Scheme as a primary tool for setting higher expectations around acceptable payment times and processes. This scheme requires large reporting entities with consolidated revenue of more than $100 million to report their payment times and terms to the Payment Times regulator in 6 monthly reporting cycles. Under this scheme, the regulator can designate slow payers, determined as the slowest 20% of all reporting entities for a given reporting cycle. These businesses face no strict consequences besides naming and shaming on the register. Now, this scheme has noble intentions of trying to make it easier for small businesses, but it just isn't working. A review of the scheme conducted in 2023, known as the Emerson Review, found no evidence that the scheme was causing the kind of behavioural change it set out to achieve, nor any evidence that small businesses had the luxury of choosing their large business customers based on their payment time status. Basically, let's be real. A small business can't say no to a big customer just because they know they go a bit slower in terms of their payment times. Analysis of the last payment times reporting cycle ended in December 2025 shows that the average proportion of payments made within 30 days was 70%. That leaves 24% of payments between 30 and 60 days and 6% over 60 days. These averages mask the extent to which slow payments is rife in Australia. From the same reporting period, only 4% of businesses had all their payments made within 30 days, and just as many businesses had at least one payment over 100 days. These numbers are not widely different to what ASBFIO reported back in 2023, indicating that behaviour has not improved. It's not getting better. And while these stats are concerning, the scheme is not costless as it is. It's not meeting its outcomes, but reporting in itself is a significant cause of frustration from those reporting entities, with regular and onerous reports. If, as a review found, the scheme is not working, we either need to improve it or remove it. In fairness to the government, in 2024, some of the more administrative recommendations of the review were implemented. However, it did very little to change incentives on businesses to improve their payment times. And so this is what this bill does. It picks up on Recommendation 14 of the Emerson Review, Recommendation 6 of the ASIC Review of 2017 to link payment reporting times to government procurement. The bill amends the Public Government Performance and Accountability Act to prevent Australia's slowest payers from accessing government contracts. This would not create any additional reporting requirements. It would use the existing data we already collect. The bill uses a different definition of restricted payer than the slow business payer concept in the Payment Times Reporting Act. Under this new approach, a business will be considered a restricted payer if, over the last 3 most recent reporting cycles, they consistently either had an average payment time of exceeding 30 days or failed to report altogether. This standalone test focuses on consistent performance and compliance rather than relative peer comparison to prioritise the real-world impacts on small businesses. However, it still allows for flexibility. If a business has a reporting cycle with an average payment time under 30 days, they are not a restricted payer. While this bill will create a bigger stick, the bill acknowledges that the primary purpose of procurement is not enforcement, but value for taxpayers' money. That's why there will be some important exemptions that protect unintended consequences while preserving the intention of this bill. There will be 4 exemptions in this bill that will require written acknowledgement by the Finance Minister. Firstly, that there is a critical national interest consideration. Secondly, that there is no viable alternative provider. And thirdly, that exclusion doesn't result in significant deterioration in value for money. And finally, that the slow payer has a credible, achievable remediation pathway. This bill has a commencement date of July 1, 2027, giving businesses 12 months to make adjustments to payment practices before facing potential exclusion. In a productivity crisis, we need to be seriously evaluating reporting and red tape requirements that we have put on businesses, and if they're not achieving their objectives, either improve it or remove it. Small businesses deserve to be paid on time. We have the mechanisms, we have the reporting in place to put real impetus behind this, but the government hasn't acted. What we have imposed is red tape without outcomes. We must stop this, and we need to get small businesses paid on time. This is a sensible, real-world amendment that can start to use the power of government procurement to get better outcomes for small business, and I urge the government to accept it.
Is the motion second? I give the call to the member for Curtin.
I second.